Welcome to or welcome back to Keisha's House, Motivation and Inspiration. I'm Keisha, and as always, I'm so glad that you stopped by. So today is Monday, February 13th, and I am thrilled to be recording my very first podcast in my new community, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Okay, we don't really know where the family's going to land yet, but this is our new community, better known as the DMV. And in the last couple of weeks, as we prepared for our move and our transition, it has not been easy. In fact, we've spent many hours in the car, packing, unpacking, and just moving from one state to another. And in all of those travels, I was listening to different books and podcasts, but I specifically came across Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game. And this book is ultimately focused on leadership in business-like settings. And as he was sharing in his book, he talked about a certain phrase, and for me, this phrase was jarring. He said, "After me comes the flood. After me comes the flood." And he was referring to King Louis XV. Ultimately, what this phrase meant was that the king didn't care about what was going on in the moment, because what he was doing, how he was living his life, how he was leading his country, he didn't care about what was going to happen tomorrow. He cared about what was going to happen in this specific moment, knowing that the decisions he was making, he didn't care what the after effects were going to be. And as someone who strives to be and is working to be and who identifies as a leader, as I mentioned, this was jarring to me. How can you lead? How can you make decisions and not care about what those decisions were going to do to the future of the organization, of the country? And as I thought about this, I couldn't help but connect it to my current situation, leaving one position and going to a new one. When you leave an organization, when you leave a program that you may be running, your goal and your hope, I assume, is that everything that you had been working on for all of those years doesn't just fall apart once you leave. You want it to sustain. You want it to be able to move forward and to grow. But the reality is, you don't know when somebody takes on the workload that you were doing if what your priorities would be their same priorities. And then going into a new position, I'm back in training with someone who's going to be leaving in a few months. And soon I will be responsible for everything that they were. But imagine if, as they focused on training me, they had the mentality of King Louis XV saying, "Listen, after me comes the flood. I'm only going to teach you the bare bones and the basics, but once I leave, good luck to you. Godspeed. We'll see if you sink or swim." You don't want someone to put you in that situation. You want someone to help build you up and put you in the best situation possible so you can succeed. But then again, stepping outside of that realm of work and business, I could also see how this phrase could relate to our personal lives. As a mother, I think, well, if something happened to me tomorrow, God forbid, are my children set up to be successful in their future? Have I done my part to ensure that they have a future, that they're not going to have to worry about sinking or swimming, they can thrive? And when we put it into that context, for me, it means so much more. To make sure that my children are prepared, to make sure that I am preparing for the future, for my future generations. So how exactly can we prepare? How can we prepare for our loved ones? But how can we prepare for, well, our futures, whether it's personal or business? How can we prepare for those that we're going to leave behind with the workload that we're going to have? Or how can we make sure that we're prepared that when we're learning from others that we can succeed once they leave? That brings me to this week's quote. And it's all about being prepared. It's all about preparation. The quote is as follows. The preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. Doing your best today. And that can look very different for each and every one of us. But what I like about the phrase doing your best, it's not saying find perfection. It's not saying that you have to be at 100%. It's saying that you're doing your best. To me, that means there's effort. You're trying, you're learning, you're asking why, you're staying engaged. Can you do that this week? Can you stay engaged? Can you do your best to prepare for tomorrow? It's not about being perfect. It's not about learning everything in one sitting. It's about putting your best self forward each and every day. So that is our challenge for this week. It's focusing on doing our best each and every day. It's not always easy. And you know what? We may have some fear or some challenges along the way. We may not think that we're the right person. We may not think that we're deserving. But the reality is if we could just show up each day and just do our best. And for some of us, doing our best may be just getting up and getting to work on time. It may be investing a specific 30 minutes into those that we love to share and pass on our knowledge and our growth. It can be easier said than done, but I believe that you can do it. I know I'm going to be rising up to that challenge to do my best each and every day this week in both my personal and my professional life. So till next time, be safe, and I'll see you soon.